Hello everyone, this is Fazana for Fazana's Law, and in today's video I'll be sharing with you all how to pass Solicitors Accounts exam in the legal practice course. So if you're interested to find out all the tips, then please keep watching this video till the end. So first things first, what is Solicitors Accounts? Solicitors Accounts is basically a module where you will have to complete some ledgers, and it's basically how the money is coming and going in a law firm, and you need to keep account of that in a business account and a client account. And then you basically just calculate, and that's basically pretty much it about the assessment. Of course, there are some multiple choice questions and short answer questions, but the most part is the ledger completion on how to calculate the business account and the client account and where the money is coming and going when it comes to those respective accounts. So that's basically pretty much it when it comes to solicitors accounts. And I know it is one of the hardest ones in the exam, one of the hardest exams in the LPC, but I assure you that with the tips that I'll be sharing with you all now, you'll definitely pass the assessment. The first tip I can give you in terms of solicitors accounts and making sure that your time management skills are really good in the exam, because I highly recommend for you to spend at least 1 hour 20 minutes on the ledger completion or the ledger part of the assessment, which is usually 80 marks I believe, and spend the rest of the time on the multiple choice questions and the short answer questions, which are probably 20 marks, because the whole exam is 100 marks. And please make sure that you are very aware of the fact that most of the marks will come on the ledger and the rest of it will come very slightly on the MCQs and the short answer questions. So please do not feel the urge that you need to finish the multiple choice questions and the short answer questions over the ledger, because the ledger is the part that you're going to be getting the most marks anyway. So, and please do have enough time for double checking your answers, because if you do not double check your answers, then you're more likely to lose marks in a way, and of course you're less likely to get the 80% or above. So it's very important that you are double checking your answers very well and making sure all the numbers are in the correct places in the correct column, and you are getting the answer as 0 as much as possible. The next tip I can give you in terms of solicitors accounts is the most important one. You have to listen to this one very well, and that is all about organization for the ledger completion part of the assessment, which is the 80 marks as I mentioned before. For this part, I highly recommend for you to collect all of your materials into the exam. For example, the formatives, the lecture slides, and also the workshop slides and so on. But at the same time, the most important thing you can do is make sure that you're creating a step-by-step procedure on how to complete certain different kinds of ledgers, and you have to divide those into as agents or stakeholders. That's very important, because if the checkbook or the workbook or whatever is by agents, there are different kinds of procedures that you need to follow to make sure you get the answer as 0.00. And the same goes for a stakeholder. If the checkbook is a stakeholder, and you'll see many different ways where that it differentiates between the two, and you'll see how that calculation reaches to 0. So it's very important that you're creating a step-by-step procedure on how to get to 0 for different kinds of scenarios with different kinds of numbers. And the City Law School does this really well, because they give you loads of different kinds of scenarios, and what you can do is collect as many different types of them and create a step-by-step calculation procedure and make as a reference guide that in case if a question is about agent, for example, in the question, then you can use the agent format, the agent procedure, to be able to answer all the questions regarding in the exam if the question is about agent. If, however, in the question scenario you see that it is a stakeholder, then you can use the stakeholder procedure and use that to answer your question in the exam. So it's very important that you're using your step-by-step guide in a way to make sure that you're using that, and you don't have to do anything else, honestly, because as soon as you have clicked the thing about creating a step-by-step procedure, then the exam becomes very easy and you don't have to do anything much. And yeah, that will be the best tip in terms of solicitor accounts, in terms of the ledger part of the assessment, which is usually 80 marks in the exam. The next set of tips that I'll be giving you is in terms of the MCQs, or the short answer questions, and the multiple choice questions basically. And the best tip I can give you in terms of those is making sure that you're collecting, again, as many types of resources as much as possible provided to you by the teachers and the university itself. And in that way you'll be gathering all those answers, and then you try to see how many times the same kind of question comes up in the exam or as a tutorial question, and you try to get the answer for that as much as possible. So in case if those questions come in the exam, which is most likely to come, then you can actually look back on those and answer the question very appropriately and rightly so. So it's very important that the main thing about LPC in general is collecting as many materials as possible and gathering that into the arch file and putting them very organized and together so that you know exactly how to answer the question in the exam, because in the exam they're most likely going to be giving you a similar type of a scenario. So it's very important for you to do that to achieve the best marks in the MCQs and the short answer questions in the Solicitors Accounts exam. When it comes to what to take to the exam, it's very, very important for you to take the arch file that you are permitted to actually take to the exam with all the notes that I've talked about previously. For example, your lecture slides, your workshop slides, your formatives, and any other kind of scenarios that they might have given you in the during the consolidation week and so on. So everything has to be taken in that arch file. The second thing that I highly recommend for you to take is a pen, pencil, and as well as of course a pencil case, and also water bottle is very, very important in the exam, because then if you get dehydrated, of course, then you can have some water and you will feel much better. And yeah, these are some of the things that I would definitely take into the Solicitors Accounts exam. And of course your candidate number, you cannot forget that at all. And yeah, that will be some of the things that I would definitely take into the exam for Solicitors Accounts. The best tips I can give you in terms of what to do during the exam of the Solicitors Accounts are as follows. First things first is the fact that you need to write the answers in pencil for the ledger part of the assessment, especially because in case if you make any mistakes and your answer does not become a 0 at the end, you can always delete everything out and redo it, because once you're writing paper, they're not going to give you another paper because you only have one allowance. So it's very, very important that you're writing your answers in pencil first, and then if you make any mistakes, you can always just delete it. And if the answer becomes 0, then of course that's a really great thing. And the next thing that I highly recommend for you to do is making sure that your answers in the client ledger is always 0.00, because that shows that you have done the calculations all right. And if you have attended any workshops in the Solicitors Accounts, you probably know that the answer is supposed to be 0.00 at the end anyway. So that is very, very important for you to achieve 0.00 in your client ledger part of the assessment. And for that, I would highly recommend for you to check your answers in your consolidation, in your formatives, and any workshop slides that might be relevant to the question. The next thing that I would highly recommend for you to do is making sure that you're giving yourself plenty of time to rewrite the ledger in pen, because that's very important. Because although they might allow you to submit your answer in pencil, it is not always reliant and it doesn't show that you're confident. So it's very important that once you have achieved with the pencil 0.00, it's very important for you to achieve to make sure that you're writing everything again on pen, so then it looks very professional, very good, and it looks very clean. And the last tip that I would highly recommend for you to learn is making sure that you're giving yourself enough time also for the multiple choice questions and the short answer questions as well, because although they do not carry as much marks at the ledger, but they will definitely bump it up, especially if you're not getting as many marks if you might not get as many marks in the ledger part of the assessment. So I highly recommend for you also give yourself enough time to also do the multiple choice and the short answer questions in the exam. So this brings me to the end of today's video. I hope you really enjoyed this video on how to pass the Solicitors Accounts module in the legal practice course. And I know that this is probably one of the hardest modules in the legal practice course, especially if you're not a mathsy person like myself and you had to really struggle to really crack on how to really pass the exam on the first time around. So I really hope that these tips have definitely helped you, but the one that I would definitely take home with me is the part of the step-by-step procedure, and create a step-by-step procedure for both the agent type of question scenario and when it comes to stakeholder scenario. And if you want more information, and if you have any other questions, then please do not hesitate to comment down below. I will definitely check them out and respond to you accordingly. And other than that, please do check out for more module related videos on legal practice course and how to pass it. And I'll see you guys in my next week's video.